Big news is on the horizon for anyone filing GST in India. Starting in January 2026, the entire system is getting a huge, and I mean really, taxpayer-friendly upgrade. So if you've ever been stung by interest on a late payment, you're going to want to pay very close attention to this. We're about to break down exactly how these changes could end up saving you some serious money.
So let's just cut right to the chase, shall we? I mean, what if the tax portal was actually smart enough to help you pay less interest when you're late? Well, believe it or not, starting in 2026, that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, so let's dive into our first section, which is all about the change that's going to have the biggest impact for most people. A brand new, and frankly, a much fairer way of calculating interest when you delay your GSTR-3B filing.
Okay, so this slide really shows you the before and after. The old way was pretty blunt. It calculated interest on your entire tax liability, no matter what. But the new way, it's much smarter. It actually looks at the cash you already have sitting in your electronic ledger and only charges interest on the amount that's left over. It's a simple change, but trust me, the impact is huge. And here's the official formula that makes it all happen. The key part to focus on is right there, minimum cash balance. Put simply, the system now subtracts the money you already had on hand before it even thinks about calculating interest. You're only paying interest on the money you genuinely hadn't paid yet, which, just makes perfect sense.
Let's put some real numbers to this to see how it works. Let's say your net GST liability is 1 lakh rupees. The due date was February 20th, but you ended up paying on March 10th. That's an 18-day delay. But, and this is the important part, during that whole time, you had a minimum cash balance of 40,000 rupees just sitting in your ledger. So, under the new rules, what's the damage? Just 533 rupees. That's it. And why so low? Because the system was smart enough to calculate interest only on the 60,000 rupees that wasn't already covered by your cash. And here is the bottom line. In this one scenario, that simple, logical change adds up to a 45% saving. I mean, think about that. The old system would have charged you almost double. So this isn't some tiny little tweak. It's a real, significant financial win for taxpayers. Now, there are a couple of important things to keep in mind here. First, this new interest amount, it's going to be auto-calculated by the system, and you can't edit it to be lower. This is the absolute minimum you have to pay. You can, however, edit it upwards if for some reason you know your actual liability is higher than what the system calculated. But hey, this whole update is about more than just saving on interest. The entire filing process is getting a whole lot smarter and giving you more flexibility. Let's take a look at how. Another fantastic change is all about how you can use your input tax credit, or ITC. We're basically getting rid of the old, really rigid rules and moving to a system with so much more freedom. You now have a lot more say in how you use your available credit to pay off your tax liabilities. It's now a really simple two-step dance. Step 1, you still have to use up all your IGST credit to pay off your IGST liability first. That part hasn't changed. But then, for step 2, if you still owe money, you have total freedom to use your CGST or SGST credit in whatever order or combination works best for you. It's a small change, but it gives you back control. Okay, here's another one of those smart features. Let's say it's your January return, but in it, you're paying tax for an invoice that was really from back in December. Well, from now on, the portal will automatically see that and tag it, making a note that this liability actually belongs to a previous month. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds like a tiny technical detail, but why should I care? Why is this so important? Well, there's a very good reason. It's because it all ties back to that new, smarter interest calculation we talked about. See, for the system to automatically and accurately figure out your interest, it has to know exactly how late each specific payment is. This auto-identification feature is what makes that whole fair interest system possible. It's all connected in one much smarter system. All right, let's start to bring this all home. We'll cover one last specific detail, and then we'll recap the key takeaways that you absolutely need to remember from all this. Now, this is a quick but important note for a specific group. If your GST registration has been canceled and you happen to file your very last GSTR-3B late, any interest you owe for that delay is now going to be collected through your final return, which is the GSTR-10. Just something to keep an eye on. So after all that, what are the most crucial things you need to walk away with from this big GST update? Let's do a quick recap. Let's break it down one last time.
Number 1, your interest payment gets reduced if you've got cash sitting in your ledger. Huge win. Number 2, that interest is auto-calculated and you can only edit it upwards. 3, the system now automatically spots payments made for past periods. 4, you've got way more flexibility in how you use your ITC. And finally, number 5, if your registration is canceled, be sure to check your GSTR-10 for any final interest charges.
You know, all these changes are clearly part of a much bigger trend towards smarter, more automated tax compliance. And while that's a great step for taxpayers, it does leave us with a final thought to chew on. As these systems keep getting more and more automated, what does that really mean for the future of how we all run our businesses and manage our finances?